Welcome to Blossom and Rise. It's your girl Amber Toysella, psychic medium and divine feminine here, and I'm back with another twin flame content video. So this is going to be an intro before we get into the discussion with my friend and fellow YouTuber Kyra Arthur as we discuss the sacred space of separation within the twin flame journey. So if you're a divine feminine and separation and you're struggling with understanding the journey, this video is for you, okay? But if you're new here and you like the video and the content on my channel, please consider liking the video and subscribing so that you don't miss any content. I do tend to post or upload a video every Sunday, if the latest Monday. So if you're interested in that, subscribe, right? I am available for personal readings, which you can schedule with me down below on the link in the description, as well as you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Blossom and Rise as well. I'm going to talk about other topics of spirituality, including the twin flame journey, talk about mediumship and psychic stuff and all that great stuff. But anyway, that's not what the topic of this video is. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we are. All right, hey blossoming souls, I am here with my lovely friend Kyra Arthur. She is another YouTube creator, and if you guys haven't checked her out, check out her channel. Everything will be linked below, and I think I can link it up here. But anyway, so today we're going to be talking about the sacred space of separation within the twin flame journey. And so I've seen some of her content. Well, I've actually seen like all her content because I'm subscribed to her channel. And I was just like, she's going to be the perfect one to collaborate and have this conversation with, because it's so needed. A lot of the things that I'm seeing out in the twin flame community is a lot of misinformation and lack of clarity and understanding in what the journey really is about. A lot of people are just so obsessed with coming into union, but not focused on doing the actual work. And so this conversation is going to be based on what some of that looks like. So we have 3 talking points, and they're all going to relate to each other. So we're going to start with, oh, actually, Kyra, do you have anything that you want to say before we get into it?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I feel like this conversation is going to be so good and so healing. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So the first talking part we're going to talk about is boundaries. As I tell my clinical clients, I'd be like, the B word. It's like, the B word? Yes. What's the B word? Boundaries. So when I talk about boundaries, what does that feel like to you? What does that look like to you, Kyra?
I think that boundaries are so important. And I think through me living on my own recently, like taking the step to move and live on my own within the past year and create a safe space for myself, it allowed me to become more intentional and more like protective of myself. And so I think with that, boundaries kind of flowed naturally for me, but I do think they're hard at first. I feel like finding the balance of boundaries can be really difficult at times. And like with me, I'm a Scorpio. So I'm like the type of person I'll probably just like, it's like either it's open or it's closed, you know? And it's not closed in the sense it's always like love, but it's like I can just protract myself completely just because like I can be reclused off to myself, you know? But I think, I think boundaries are super, super important when you're trying to heal and evolve. And I think that the world is so fast and people, there's so much low vibrational stuff going on that you can get like swept up in that so quick. So you really have to be protective of yourself and create, not walls, but, you know, create those boundaries so that you can be protective of yourself and still meet people where they're at, I guess.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Have you always had this type of movement with like your the need to like be reclusive?
No, I think partially like yes, because again, like I said, I'm a Scorpio, and also like I grew up in my house as my mom's only child. So like I was by myself a lot. So I definitely feel like I could have a tendency to do that, maybe a little bit more than another person. But no, in terms of like being reclusive, like with intention to protect myself and for it to be like a positive, no, not at all. Like it wasn't something that I thought about at all. That's why I said it's like everything moves so fast and you just get so swept up in it, you don't realize, and so if you are not talking to people, if I was not talking to people at that time, like it would be for a different reason, not because of, you know what I'm saying? Like because of boundaries, yeah.
Yeah, because of boundaries. Now, with you moving by yourself, you said that happened within the last year?
Yes.
So during COVID?
Yes.
Oh, that's so crazy. Because I told you that I was by myself. I think I told you. I was by myself through COVID, and it was perfect time because I was in separation and I was really focusing on my own self-healing. And then when COVID hit, it was like, oh, you got to stay home. You can't really go out and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, yes. Thank you. This is like perfect timing for me because I don't want to be involved with anybody else. I don't want to extend my energy out to other people. And me being a therapist, that was really difficult for me because I have to hold space for other people when I needed to hold space for myself.
Facts.
So I lived by myself just like you, and it was fantastic. And I encourage everyone, if they're able to have that space for themselves, to do that, to experience that, because it's a lesson of self-love, but also the ability to like enjoy your own self-company. You know what I mean?
You don't know what it looks like. Like, it's like you're not even able to grasp what you're missing if you've never taken the time out to do it. Cause it's like, I don't know how to explain. It's really transformative though. Like it's very, I think when I think back about what my life looked like, the way that I operated in the world, I should say, before I took this time for myself is so completely different. Like, my awareness is just a lot different. I feel like I follow my intuition a lot more. I'm not likely to be, swayed or strayed based on what other people are doing, or, you know what I'm saying? Like I have found myself, and I watched this video. It's like a motivational audio video. And she says, like, I have figured out my relationship with myself, like, and I'm constantly in vibrational alignment with my relationship with myself. So everything else like works around that. So that's how I feel about boundaries. So it's not like I have a boundary with this person or it's literally just like, this is my world and this is how I operate. And this is where you got to meet me at. Like,
ooh, yes. And I also tell people that boundaries is a form of self-respect and self-love, because you can give that to yourself and you can provide that for others. And we all want boundaries and we all need boundaries, whether we're consciously aware of it or not. So it is a form of self-love and self-respect. Now, since this is about the twin flame journey, how does this correlate with your separation right now from your divine masculine?
Do you mean in terms of how I would create boundaries with him, or what do you mean by that?
As far as like, okay, so what I'm thinking of, you're honestly in the surrendering stage. I know you, so like I know that.
I'm chilling, like.
Yeah. So, and the first part of it is like the runner chaser, right? And then it's like understanding boundaries.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like, okay, to not chase and to respect.
I got you.
Space, you know what I'm saying? But if you're chasing, then there's some other underlining wounding of abandonment issues that we got to focus on, right?
Yes. Okay, I got you. So let me tell you that I had this thought the other day. And I was thinking about just reflecting on the fact that like, as young people, right? Like when you're in high school, college, whatever, like when you're in this young, then you're in your 20 something, it's like the perspective that people have is that like men are the worst, men are, you know what I'm trying to say? Like there's this perspective that like men just be out here not respecting nobody or not being considerate of other people, and the women are just like, you get what I'm saying? And I say that though because like the epiphany that I had is that like men or young men, boys, when they're like immature, that's like what's going on with them. They act like that and they're selfish, right? And it can be looked at as like a whatever thing. And I think but young girls, and it's not about a gender thing, this is just my experience. I feel like young ladies, like it's a lot of like feeling like you have to learn to respect yourself. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like I feel like as as a woman, I had to learn how to respect myself, right? So to your point about boundaries, I think for me, it was more so like, you have to put yourself first in every regard, like, and you have to, and out of love, and you operate from that place, right? And so like, I'm of course not going to be overstepping boundaries with another person, but it's like, I'm most certainly not going to like go against myself. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It does make sense.
Yeah.
I hear you.
But I think that takes a while though, you know,
to build and understand. And that's all part of growing and healing. Right?
That's what most people, that's why I think a lot of people run away from it, or a lot of people shy away from it, because growth is like, this ain't no joke. Like this
no at all.
So it's not for the weak. And I think it really just like that like soul level of understanding, that experience just like forces you to take a real hard look at every single thing about yourself. Like, and like all the ways that you view the world. It forces you to like go back to the drawing board about everything that you thought you knew, you know, and not, it has like, that's why it's like, it really has so little to do with that other person. Like it has so much to do with just like you know, like that's. Yes. I always tell people that the twin flame journey is a self-healing journey, period. And it's a mirrored journey. As far as boundaries with myself, when I sensed that he was going to run before it happened, it was just like a knowing. I'm like, this has happened before in another lifetime. Like I just knew it. And then it was like days later, he was checked out. And I understood that it was triggered. We talked about it. And I respected his space. So I already had the knowledge to be like, okay, I'm going to just let him do it. Hurt. But I respected his space, and that's the boundary I gave for myself, and I gave for him too. Because then he came back the second time, the first time he came back, and he was like, I really want to thank you for just allowing me to do what I needed to do, to work through what I needed to work through, to come back to you. And I'm yes. You know, like everything that you just said is so true. And I think like it's so on point, because you said something about mirroring, and it's very, very true, because it's just like, going back to the thing about learning how to respect yourself. It's like, yo, you have to give people room to grow. Like you cannot be out here. This goes for anything, just in life in general. Like you cannot be out here expecting things of people that you know deep in your heart that you don't have the capacity to give yourself. That's like, that don't make no sense, you know? So I think like these are like the real things that you have to learn and that you have to go through, and you have to like see people where they're at. I think that's like, it's like unconditional, you know? And I think as you go through the healing, you learn like what it means to just be unconditional with the way that you move in the world, you know? Because it's just like, it's not like to your point, like I absolutely give you all the space you need to grow and evolve and figure yourself out, because you have every right to, like, and it doesn't make any sense. Like it doesn't make any sense to try and force something, or try and, you know what I'm trying to say? Like it doesn't make any sense to try and force anything when you understand that like right now you need to be where you're at, and this is what you need to work on, and this is where this person is at, and you have to see them like and let them like go through that, you know?
Absolutely. And that's self-respect.
Facts.
And love, unconditional love, like you said. Okay. I have said that better. So our next talking topic is creating space for healing.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of talked about that a little bit.
We did kind of talk about that, but let's kind of like dive into that a little bit more. So now you have your own space, and to like disclaimer, people may be like, well, I can't afford to live on my own, blah, 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 blah. Okay, manifest it, because I know I manifested it. I'm pretty sure you manifested it. There's a way that you can have you create your reality. This is not a manifestation video, but I'm just encouraging you, like, do not have those negative narratives in your mindset, because that's what you're going to create for yourself. So with that said, like disclaimer, so with your creating space for yourself, what does that look like?
So I would say for me, I feel like I needed a space to heal, like from the the things that were going on in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I also think, I don't know. I just think for me and what my personal situation was, like, I really needed to, like, I was running, like I needed to get away because it was like kind of one of those, like, you can't heal in the same place that you were hurt at type of thing, like, you know? And so, you know, I think because I shared this with you, my dad passed away, right? So my dad passed away, and then just other things going on with just life. Like, everybody goes through life. And I also, dare I say, that I think people who are able to achieve this soul level of understanding, right? Like, and people who are on this journey or a spiritual journey, like, I think that a lot of these souls are people who have been through like a lot of stuff. So it was a thing of like, I had this desire or like this necessity for a place to literally just heal, like just a place to just like breathe, like, and really be able to like breathe and make it like as safe as possible, you know, like a place for me to like go through all the feelings that I was feeling and allow myself to literally just like grow through that and keep it like sacred, you know, and be intentional. So that's, I would say.
Let's say, I'm gonna challenge you with this.
Okay.
What if you weren't able to have your own space? How could you recreate that?
Yeah, I think it goes a little bit to the conversation we were having earlier about boundaries, because all this stuff is intertwined. Sorry.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that it's all intertwined, you know, because I think, can you repeat the question? That literally threw me off so bad.
I said, what if you were able to create your own space as far as like living alone? How could you recreate that?
Yes. I feel like that was my truth for such a long time. And going back to the conversation we were having earlier about boundaries, like, that's why I think learning about yourself and learning how to create those boundaries is important, because you may be in a space where like you share a small area, like you live in a small apartment, or you live in a, you know what I'm saying, like in a space where it's like you don't have a lot of space to yourself, like you don't have a lot of space that can be sacred, and honestly the only space you might have is in your mind, like, and that's really like how you got to figure it out. Is really like, you know, you have to find the things that you enjoy and like prioritize those things, and it can be so hard. Like, I'm telling you, like me, I was in grad school in a pandemic, from home, like going to school in Jersey, but I'm in like grad school at USC in LA, like, you know, just a 3-hour time difference. I'm in school, like I live at home. I told you, you know, it's all these different things going on. So it was definitely like, I had to try and find things like take a bath or find things for myself that just allowed me to just like have 5 seconds to myself and to think and process my thoughts. Cause I wasn't able to create that, space, I guess you could say, at the time where I was at, you know? So that's what I would say. It's not like, I'm not saying it like, that's why, but I feel like I mention that though, because I just want people to understand, like, I'm not saying it from a place of, like you said, like, oh, I moved and like, you know, like I built this sacred space for myself and everything's been so easy. It's like, no, like, trust me, I understand, like, it really, like, everybody goes through stuff, and you really might not have like the capacity to, you know, get your own space or whatever the case may be, but you do owe it to yourself. It's literally like your responsibility to yourself to prioritize yourself in some capacity. So find things that work for you, that allow you to be with yourself, things you enjoy, and make sure that you do it, like, and hold yourself accountable to it.
I could have not answered that question any better.
Thank you.
That was marvelous. Yeah, because I've had people ask me that, well, tell me, oh, well, I live with people and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay. And you could still create sacred space for yourself. Go on a walk. I mean, what's around you that calls to you? You know what I mean? I live 5 minutes from the ocean. I live 10 minutes from the forest.
Yeah.
You know, take a ride, get in your car. I mean, I did a lot of that when I was in separation. It was hard. I'd get in my car. Have you heard of South Lake Tahoe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I lived like 45 minutes from South Lake Tahoe. So I would just take my pup, get in the car, and just listen to music and just drive. And that was so healing for me. Yeah. Or I would go in the forest on a hike with my pup and just really go through the emotions and allow myself to do that, and then do it at home too. You know what I mean? I did live by myself, but I'm just saying, like, if you have roommates or whatnot and you live with family, still there's still options for you to create that sacred space for yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Very good. I think you answered that like 1,000%. Like, there's nothing else to say about that. About that talking point. You did great. But for you to be in grad school doing all that, like, grad school is no joke, period. Okay, so if you're like, any of you guys have been in grad school or like in grad school, like, comment down below, let us know. We'd love to know, because that is no joke. Were you working too on top of that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's no joke. Yeah, I did the same thing. No joke.
But that's why I said, it's like, that's why it's like, I got, this was, it's just like, I got to a point in life in general where it's like, hold up, you know, it's like, you know, because it's like, life will literally like make you sit the F down sometimes, because it's like, that's what it was. Everything was spinning out of control and I had no like grasp of control. I wasn't going to be, I didn't feel that I could, I didn't feel that I was going to be able to like get through it if I didn't like put my foot down with myself to figure it out. So yeah.
That's self-discipline and self-love too. So with all, this is a perfect last topic of, with all the craziness, how did you care for yourself through all of this? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I'm a huge skincare type of chick. I love a good facial. I'm very much like shea buttered and coconut oiled up. Like, that's just like, you know, so I think that time for myself is really good, but also, again, like we're saying, being intentional. So it's intentional with like what you consume, intentional with the conversations you're a part of, intentional of all that stuff. So before, where maybe I would do a facial and I could be listening to anything, you know, listening to music. Like, now maybe when I do a facial, I'm listening to meditation music, or I'm listening to motivational audio, or listening to something where I feel like it's like feeding my soul, you know, like that's, and I think taking those moments, like doing my facials or deep conditioning my hair or taking a bath, like, and having that space for myself. I meditate a lot. Like, I think that's good.
Oh yeah, no, it is good. And your face care and all that, you guys check out her channel, because she talks a lot about that. That's a lot of her content, but it's good because that is caring for herself. My divine masculine every morning takes a bath and he meditates at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes it's like too loud. I'd be like, hey, can you please turn? I'm still trying to catch these weeds. Like, but he makes it intentional. You know what I mean? And it's good for the body. It's good for the soul. It's good for the mind, right? But then, like, what other techniques do you use?
Well, I want to say this really quick, because I was thinking about in terms of like meditating in the morning. I started reading this book called Heal Thyself by Queen Afua. I feel like I told you about this book before, but I really recommend that everybody and their mom read this book. Like, I just do. But it's like, I learned that when you wake up earlier, it's not about like, oh, being up so early and whatever, blah, 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 like productivity. Yes, that's great. But it's like, when you wake up earlier, you take that time for yourself, and it's sacred time because it's quiet. Like, and you meditate, you do whatever, you allow yourself to just like exist and think through whatever you're thinking about, and ground yourself and set your intention for the day. And then you have time to still fully get ready before you go into the world of working, or if you got kids, or if you got whatever you got going on, like, you know, like, so it's really, really important to take that space. So that's, I feel like, a really big thing. So I did want to point that out. And then, I guess in terms of other things I do, I'm definitely deeply in touch with the moon. That's super important to me. So like yesterday was the full moon, and
full moon in Taurus.
Yes.
And it was a lunar eclipse.
Lunar eclipse, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So I feel like that's really big for me. And I know we talked about, you know, the leaves and stuff earlier. I feel like really,
pause. Can you hear background noise? Yeah. Okay, sorry, it's the pups. They just got back. So, okay. Okay, disclaimer. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. You can cut that out. But yeah, I don't know. I just think being more intentional with every aspect of my life. Like, I feel like I keep saying this and I'm really serious about it. Like, being more intentional with all that stuff allows me to stay grounded and allows me to go through that. That's why we were talking about being more intentional with the moon and being in touch with the moon, and me as a woman tracking my moon cycle. Like, the way my brain has so completely like shifted from the way that I just used to, everything is so maybe like modernized that I've really like pulled it back to like being, a woman of the earth and literally where we come from, and being in touch with my surroundings and recognizing that when the leaves fall, I was telling one of my friends this, like recognizing that, you may be going through a funk or feeling heavy, and it's like, of course you are. Like, do you see like we're in a transitional period right now. We're going into fall. It's like time for like that recluse, that like for you to like pull back and reflect and like, kind of go into hibernation, so to speak. And so I think like people feel that, we all feel that, but when you're in tune with it, it allows you to like grow through that better.
Yeah, higher awareness, right? Like for me, the moon affects me usually drastically. Usually I feel like really fatigued and drained and whatnot. But then also on another hand, like last night, I just felt super disconnected and super drained and fatigued. And then I realized, oh, it's a full moon. Like that's why, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, I know like this is not astronomy, but like if people can like look at the full moon and what sign it is and whatnot, and like how to work that into like their natal chart. I mean, deep astrology is deep. It's super. It gets super deep than just like the signs. Like everything is connected. In astrology, everything is connected. I have a business coach that works with astrology. So she does business and then mixes in the astrology with it. And she texts me, she's like, hey, heads up, like there's a full moon in Taurus. So just be prepared, like be low key this weekend. And it's just like those energies, like it affects us because energy is everything. And so just being mindful and intentional with our energy, like you stated, like is super important, but you have to be aware. And if you're on this journey,
awareness,
you're gonna be more aware on things, and everything that you thought you knew as truth is gonna be and then you find out what's true for you. Mind blowing. Well, those are the talking points that we came up with for this video. I hope you guys found it interesting. Please comment, like the video, share the content, subscribe. Go check out Kyra's content, her channel, okay? It's her name. And everything else is down below. And I want to thank you guys for just, tuning in. We found this interesting. And I'll see you again next week. Oh, happy holidays if you guys celebrate Turkey Day. I don't call it Thanksgiving because of the history, so we just going to call it Turkey Day. Be safe out there, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.